the director, so his support, so 2 levels up. Not as much. He'll know my face. He'll know my name to say, hey, how are you doing? How's the kids? But not as much. But then when I think about it, his support, the VP, I can sit down and have a conversation with her. So it depends. And I feel like too, though, it's me and my personality. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm outspoken and I'm not afraid to share my ideas, whether it's good or bad, mm-hmm. so they can appreciate that from me. But I can definitely tell that some of my peers, they probably won't go past their direct support.
What about the rest of you? Do you feel that your senior leaders are out of touch with you?
I think definitely they're out of touch, but I think they would be in touch when something goes wrong. I mean, I guess they know who you are by name, but I don't think, like, especially for larger companies, you won't know who they are by face, and you won't know who they are by face until, like, there's some kind of crap going down, and they need somebody to blame, or they need somebody to, like, they need answers from somebody. But direct bosses, definitely in touch, mm-hmm. but like once you go like above, like maybe like store manager or like regional, like mm-hmm. all those other people, like you know their names, but if they walk in and ask you what aisle the ketchup is in, you would just think that they're just like a regular person.
So so in your case, would you say the store manager is in touch with what you're up to?
Yeah, definitely.
But once it gets beyond
store manager, then definitely out of touch. 100%.
What about you, Vivian?
I think my direct manager is in touch, and her manager is sort of in touch. I mean, we see each other often, but we don't talk on personal things. We just mm-hmm. talk about work. And then above her, I don't think, like, they know my name, they know my face, but that's probably it.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
Location, we don't sit together, mm-hmm. And they don't even directly talk to us. They talk to, like, so her boss will talk to her directly, mm-hmm. and then so he will know her, obviously, but he won't know people underneath her unless there's something big that happened, a good thing or bad thing. So,
which is what you said, until something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. Okay. Do you trust your direct leader more than senior leaders?
Yes.
Why? Why is that?
Because they're there, mm-hmm. like they're present. I mean, I guess senior leaders know. Like they're experts, like they know, everything like in theory, but I think if you're not physically like in the building or on the floor or, in the environment, mm-hmm. you can't really trust like what they say or if they know exactly what they're talking about.
Do you think that there's, how could they fix that? To perhaps make the more senior people be a little more, encourage that feeling of trust with people at your level, for instance?
I mean, at least come around, like, even if it's like once a year, like, let people know, like, who you are. Mm-hmm. It's not just a name. Mm-hmm. Like, it's best if people can put, like, a face to the name and say, oh, yeah, I've seen him. It's not like, oh, Bob said that the floor should be tiled with blue tile. And it's like, who's Bob? Like, I've never seen this Bob before. It's like, oh, Bob he's the big manager. It's like, mm-hmm. okay, but how does Bob know what to do if Bob has never been here? Whereas if you see Bob, like, walking around, and if he says mm-hmm. something, you more trust that person because you've literally, like, seen that person, like, physically. So I guess that's what they could do, like, that is make their visits.
We had kind of a reverse situation to that. We had a boss that came and he decided, senior leader, he was going to be present. So what he would do is he'd walk the floors every morning and walk the floors randomly and say, hello, it's England, hello, how are you? And the problem was, it freaked everybody out.
Yeah.
Because it's like, is he checking on me? Does he want to see me in my chair? What if I'm in a meeting and I'm not at my desk? Does that mean he thinks that I'm not here? And so he's trying to bond, but everybody's like, I gotta be here at 5 o'clock. He's gonna be walking by, and if he doesn't see me in my chair, what's he gonna think? And I know his assistant, so I know he means it genuinely, that he wants to build a relationship, he wants to see the team, but everybody's just reading it in a completely different way.
So how do you think he could fix that?
Well, I think he fails in that he'll come up to you and say, oh, hello, how are you today? And then you're like, oh, I'm great, oh, you're gone.
He
wants to cover the floor in 5 minutes, so he doesn't really...
It's kind of not...
Exactly.
It's not
genuine at all.
So you need more time almost.
Needs more time.
But I think because they know that they have to do this thing, like this whole like open door policy and getting to know your managers and walking around. Because it's the same thing when I used to work at a telephone company, like whoever it is that would own it would fly down from like New Zealand or somewhere and walk around. Oh, hello. Hi, how are you? And shake hands, and you're just like, am I doing something wrong? Am I wearing the wrong like hair color? Can I wear nail polish? Like, you know, like you're always like, as you said, like you're gonna wonder if you're doing something wrong. But I don't think there's any way that they can like change that stigma. I don't think there's a way to change that at all, to be honest.
Okay, well, we're now kind of into the home stretch. And I'm going to pass these around. There's pens there, too, so I'd like you to take one and pass it along. Pauline, you already have one, but you may choose to add and change what you've got there. Patty, you want to pass it down so that Sharon has one?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks. All right.
Oh, here you go. Well, once you're done.
You've got an extra one. I'll take it back. I'll leave it for the next round. Thank you. All right. I'm handing out an activity sheet, and we've talked a lot about different areas here this evening. And essentially now you're in charge of training in your company. So your first step is to enable individuals and employees to be more, to support appreciation, well-being, and leadership, the three areas that we talked about. We're interested in the three specific skills or attributes that you think would be important in training for each of these subjects. So I want you to we're going to take about 5 to 8 minutes and write down the three skills that you think are important to support appreciation, well-being, and great leadership. Don't talk about it amongst yourselves. We'll share afterwards. Are you clear on what you're being asked to do here?
Question, skills that someone has?
No, skills that you think would be important to train people on.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because you're now in charge of training.
Training lower.
Yes.
So what I want to teach them so they can show appreciation?
Yes. Well, wait a minute. What if your company wants people to show appreciation? And you're involved with training? What are the three things that you want to communicate to them so that they can effectively show appreciation to others within the organization? It could be someone beneath you, or it could be somebody above you. Okay? I'll be back in a couple minutes, but just don't share yet. And then, and not only what the three things are that you choose for each of these, but why? What makes them important? Why are they the ones that are the most important for you? Okay? I'll be back in a minute. that make more sense now?
I think I still had the same idea, but it made sense. It makes sense.
Great.
Do you want our names written on this?
Beg your pardon?
Do you want our names written on this?
Yeah, why don't you write your first name down, if you like, just at the top. Is everybody close to being finished? Okay, well, I'm just going to quickly try to do this. I'd like to find out what you wrote down and why. And perhaps if somebody says something and you've got a question or a comment, I'd love to hear that as well. So if we're talking about appreciation, what were the 3 characteristics that you would focus on in each of these training sessions?
Well, for me, I have observation. So I think if you're gonna appreciate or show appreciation, you have to be like aware of what people are doing. And
Okay, so observant.
yeah.
All right, what else?
Genuine.
I'm sorry,
Genuine.
Yeah. And why is that important?
Because if you're not sincere, then it doesn't really mean anything. It's not meaningful at all.
Okay. Who else has something else to add? What other areas of appreciation?
Making it truly employee-centric instead of self-centric. So,
Employee-centered?
Yeah.
Why is that important?
because if you want to show appreciation and like you are like, oh wow, you did an amazing job, and just say it in a way that it looks like you are just doing a formality instead of you truly did a good job and this is a gift card handing in person, that makes it.
Great. Sharon, did you have something to hear?
My 3 were authenticity. It's the same. Point out specific things that you've actually done instead of just, oh, you've been here for 5 years, great.
All right, specifics.
My next one was empathy. They know you're working hard, they see you're working hard, and they want to show you that they know that. And the last one was strength, like they're willing to fight for you if
Strength?
you need something. Yeah, strength of character.
Okay. Does anybody have anything different?
Just gratitude. For me, I was like, it's just the ability to show gratitude.
Show
So,
gratitude.
Just say thank you, or I appreciate this.
Corinne, what about you?
Pretty much the same things, except, I mean, transparency is the same thing really as authenticity, so pretty much all those things.
Now let's move on to well-being. What would be the characteristics there?
For well-being, I had the same word that she put. Empathy is a big thing when you think about being, looking after somebody's well-being.
Yes.
And I also have that you have to be like a good listener. So somebody can come to you and talk to you, and they can tell you what's going on in their life, and at the same time, you're not really like, you're hearing what they're saying, but you're not listening to what they're saying. People probably are afraid to come right out and say what's wrong, so sometimes you have to listen to read in between the lines. So I think being a good listener is a part of that.
Anyone else? What would support well-being?
I had genuine here.
Sorry?
Being genuine.
Genuine?
Like,
And we heard that before too.
Yeah. Like caring about somebody and just taking a genuine interest in their personal life and putting yourself in somebody else's shoes in order to understand what they're going through.
All right, great. Anything else?
But understanding their personal needs, so same thing.
All right. That's what we talked about earlier too, on the other one.
People are people. We're not all the same. We have different needs.
And to go with understanding, supportive.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Being supportive.
Being
Just
supportive?
being
How
there.
would they do that?
So just being there, offering your assistance, whether hey, I'm having a hard time sleeping. Hey, well, I think this works for me if I don't drink coffee after a certain time and I turn off all the lights. Offering any of your wisdom or anything that helps you.
Now, what about leadership?
For leadership, I put that, having full knowledge of the job that you're doing helps a lot. Not just to delegate, but I think once you know or exactly what you're doing and what your role is in the job, it helps a lot with being a leader.
I put listen.
Listening?
Yeah, a good leader knows how to listen.
Positivity.
What else? That's a good one.
Positivity.
Oh, positive. Sorry, I didn't hear you, Karen.
I also put a good attitude.
Seeking timely feedback.
Timely feedback.
Present and approachable.
What do you mean by that?
You have to be there. So it's great to be the CEO of the company or the director, but so what? Who are you? I don't want. I feel like, especially in big companies, there's many people that are up there on the ladder that you can walk by and you just don't know them, and they don't know you. And then also, sometimes you need your direct support person could only do so much. If you're able to go into that director's or vice president's office and say, hey, this would be a great company or a great idea for the company, for them to have that open door policy.
Okay. Some of these have sort of crossed over, if you noticed, and I'm kind of wondering about something that you talked about earlier. How important is that for you to be connected in the workplace, to have a good sense of community within that workplace, with your leader or with the other people that are at your level?
To me, it's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Because it's still your day, right? Like, there's other companies that pay much more for the same type of job I do. But I know when I go to work, one, I'm not stressed. If I'm stressed, it's because something specific has happened. It's not like I'm, oh my gosh, is my hair okay? Are they going to be mad at me? They don't care as long as the job gets done. And I don't spend the day stressed over what people are feeling about me. I'm stressed about the job and trying to get the job done, which is okay because I can get the job done. But there have been other companies where if I wore the wrong shoes, I was pulled into the manager's office. If you're late on the subway and you show up at 9:01, you're pulled into the manager's office and they tell you have 3 more tries and you're gone. There's jobs where they tell half the team, we have to make cutbacks, so half of you aren't going to be here in a month. And you don't know what your future holds. Those types of things, I don't want that kind of day. I want to walk in and do my job and not have to worry about my shoes or whether or not the company's in a bad mood or somebody just doesn't feel like having that team anymore, that kind of thing. I talked to a guy the other day who said he worked at another company, I won't say which one, where he was pulled in as the boss and said, I want you to fire somebody just to stir up the team, just to make them stressed so they'll stay later, they'll put in more effort because they may lose their job too. And like that, there was no reason for this person to be fired other than they just wanted to scare everybody. It's horrible.
So tell me a little bit more about that connection. Is it important to be connected in the workplace?
Yeah, I think it's very important because you actually spend more time at work than at home. So work is like, the people at work and your colleagues, they're like a kind of like a second family. Like you said, you want to feel like you belong. It's like another family. And work is just work. Like you said, you can go to different jobs, different companies, but I think it's the people who make a difference.
And then also, I think once you're connected, naturally you communicate, and communicating is a big part of working like within a team. And also, once you're connected or you genuinely like care about these people, communicating won't be like a task. It would just be automatic. Whereas if I don't really know you or I've only seen you once or twice, I'm going to have to remind myself tonight, okay, I'm going to have to tell Corinne this, or I need to send this email to, I need to remember to do this. Whereas if I genuinely have a good relationship with you, it's going to be automatic, like no worries. That's a nice thing.
anyone else have any further thoughts about the importance of connections at work?
We're social beings, so I feel like in general human beings want to be connected to someone else. And it just makes for a more positive experience in any aspect of life, including work.
I think it's a win-win situation if you are connected with everybody else. So if they are there for you, you are there for them.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much for your help tonight. If you want to pass those papers up to me, that would be great. And I appreciate your honesty and your help. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
And it's great to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, take those name tags off so people on the street aren't calling you by name. Thank you very much.